And now it's time for the most entertaining, unpredictable prediction show on the face of the earth. It's NFL Weekly Predictions, starring Jason Powers, Jay Sizzle, and Steve Champagne. And now to your predictions.
Hey, what's up, football fanatics? Thank you for tuning in to NFL Weekly Predictions. Tuning in. Listen to what I said, tuning in. Like it's an old black and white Panasonic, 20-inch. Anyway, thanks for joining us, NFL Weekly Predictions, as we do our Super Bowl post-game reaction show. And Steve Champagne, my brother over here. Also got Jay Sizzle behind the board working the ops. Say hello to your deluge of fans.
Hi.
Steve, since we're doing reactions, let's get your reaction. What do you think? What's your take?
Well,
you look very mellow and laid back today.
Actually, you know what? Before Steve says anything,
okay,
I want to say something.
Come on. Come with it.
Yes. So both of you did not pick Tampa Bay. The only reason why you picked Tampa Bay is because he ticked you off. So touche to both of you.
Still counts. Okay,
that's all I've got to say about that.
Okay, all right, well, we want my reaction. Here's the reaction. All right, we now know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the man with an S on his chest is number 12, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. II. He's the greatest of all time.
Hey, finally came aboard.
Now, why is he the greatest of all time? I'm going to tell you why he's the greatest of all time, and you're going to agree with me, finally. Okay, here we go. Okay, I told you the Falcons Super Bowl didn't count because it was the biggest coaching meltdown. Right. So he had 6 at that time, so that would only be 5.
And you gave 3 of them to the kickers.
Wait a minute, hang on. That was only 5. Okay. Right. And then the biggest bonehead play in the history of the Super Bowl, the interception that Russell Wilson threw, the Seahawks thing, instead of running Marshawn Lynch into the end zone. Right. Okay, so that would have only given him 4 Super Bowls. And then you take the first one where A, the Tuck Rule game, and B, he didn't win with a touchdown pass. Adam Vinatieri kicked a long field goal in the blistering snowstorm to get them to the Super Bowl, which they played the Rams, and afterwards it was shown that the Spygate was there. So that means he would only have 3. But now, because he has 3 legitimate ones, now he won his 4th legitimate one, which now puts him even with the other guys who have 4. But he did it during a pandemic year. He did it with no off season. He did it with no training camp. He did it with new teammates.
First year in a new city, in a new conference.
In a new conference. He beat Drew Brees, who annihilated him twice in the regular season. Yep. He revenged his loss on Patrick Mahomes from the regular season. Yeah. He took it to Aaron Rodgers not once but twice this year. Yep. He went and did everything he had to do. And what more importantly did he do yesterday? He won with not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdown passes. Yep. There was no long field goal going into he won. He is the greatest of all time. He's not the load. He's not the coat. He's not the moat. He's not the soat. He is the GOAT. 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 Did I spell that right?
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
He's the GOAT.
Welcome. You're
he was not until yesterday.
You're about the second, 2,450,000th person on board, and I hope you enjoy. There's always room for more, apparently.
I mean, even though there was some questionable calls in yesterday's game.
Can we even doubt? I mean, at this point, can we legitimately, even have doubt that Tom Brady will return to the Super Bowl again?
No, well, yeah, no, I don't think he will.
Well, I don't know. At this point, by the way, he is now saying he's going to play past age 45. He's saying he wants to play until he's at least 46 years old.
No, there's so many takeaways in that game yesterday. And I know everybody's talking about the Bucs defense, Todd Bowles. Oh, what a game plan Byron Leftwich put together. Yada, 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 yada.
They did. You can't deny that.
Let me tell you something.
Dude, they shut Tyreek Hill down almost completely.
All they did was prove everything I said all season long right. And that is this. defense,
coaching,
and running game. Because Leonard Fournette, remember I told you I was worried about him fumbling? He has a case of the fumble fingers. Young guy, never really been in the Super Bowl. You know, if you notice, what did Mike Evans do? What did Godwin do? What did all those other guys do? Nothing. It was the veterans, except for Fournette. But he's been around a little while. He was in the AFC Championship.
Ronald Jones had a good game, too.
Okay, he was in the AFC Championship game. But it was Gronk and it was AB who made the clutch catches and the clutch touchdowns. That one pass in the center where Gronk went right down the middle of the field. He don't ankle tie that guy. Gronk is going all the way.
And if you noticed, when the Bucs were close to the end zone, when they got their last field goal, they did not give the ball to Leonard Fournette when they were down on, what was it, the 3? They gave the ball to Ronald Jones.
They did.
And that's because, as I mentioned recently to you, I think it was, I don't remember if it was on camera or not, but we talked about Leonard. We were talking about Leonard Fournette. I mentioned how his problem is he tends to have cases of the dropsies. So when they got close to the end zone, they gave the ball to Ronald Jones. And, of course, Tony Romo's over there. Why aren't they giving it to Leonard Fournette? Well, because he tends to fumble the ball, Tony. But, thanks for tuning in. This game was. Go ahead.
I take it you're not a big.
He's
Tony
not a Tony
Romo.
I
Romo.
can't stand him as an
I
analyst.
love Tony
I
Romo.
can't stand Tony Romo.
I loved him when he was a
Find
player.
him
I love him as an
extremely
announcer.
annoying. The only
He's
times he
great.
makes observations are when they're very obvious, and he's also wrong a lot of the time. That's just my opinion. And I know I'm not the only one. There's been a lot of people putting him on blast on social
Well, a lot of people say I'm wrong, but I am right.
Yeah, but they like you. That's the difference.
Well, I don't know about that, but the thing is
you know
with
what,
yesterday's game. Let me tell you.
I like you,
Let me
Steve.
tell you what I was most impressed with
like
yesterday. And when I say this, you're probably going to go off the chain.
Okay.
I was most impressive yesterday with Patrick Mahomes.
You were most impressive with.
I was
Patrick
most
Mahomes?
impressed with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know people say, what do you mean? He didn't even get in the end zone. How could you be impressed with him? Let me tell you what I saw from Patrick Mahomes yesterday. Well, let me tell you what I saw. I saw a guy who was under extreme duress the entire game, but yet makes throws that were right at the receivers. I mean, there was one throw. He was back. He ran around. They almost tacked him. He came back around again, sidearmed to throw right to a guy.
Yep, bounced right off his hands, didn't it?
It bounced right off his hands. I was impressed with that. I
felt bad.
Kelsey missed a couple balls.
I felt bad for Mahomes because I feel like if the Chiefs had been a little better at catching the ball, because there were 3 really crucial drops early in the first half of the game. And if they make those catches, it's probably a completely different ball game. I know Kelsey dropped 2 of them, hit right in the breadbasket, right in his hands, and doinked right off. And I kind of felt bad for him. I pinched my nose. I was like, oh, because Mahomes was kind of struggling. But then when he was able to be elusive and make the throws that he needed to get away from the intense pressure, and you got to give it to the Bucs. They put intense pressure on him the whole game. And I felt kind of bad for Mahomes because he just wasn't getting any help from his receivers.
Well,
Sizzle's got to say something.
Yeah, so it was like the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I think I texted you at that point. Yes, is that right?
Yeah.
And I said, I think KC. I think they're just demoralized after that.
Yeah,
after
you could
that
see
pass,
it. Yeah.
after that pass into the the end zone where they just missed it or went through his hands or whatever. I don't remember exactly what happened, but they zoomed in on Patrick Mahomes, and I'm like, oh, that poor guy.
Is that when he was sitting on the bench?
And
just
the
kinda
look on
looking-
his
He
face
looked
was
like a lost puppy.
Oh, I
Yeah.
felt so
He did.
terrible for
Well,
him.
Look, as far as the game yesterday is concerned, a lot of people thought it was a terrible Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera. So I didn't think it was that bad. And the reason why I didn't think it was that bad is because of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. When the score was 21-3 or 6 or something like that, I kept thinking, this is not out of reach for this team. If they regroup, I just need a couple
When it was
plays.
21-9, I was thinking, this is
Right.
this
It's not
is
over.
Kansas City.
Yeah, this
Right.
is not over.
You know what I'm
A lot
saying?
of
They
people.
will
I didn't
come
I didn't
back.
count him out until the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
at that
either.
point, it was obvious
It was
that the
obvious
Chiefs were
they were going to lose.
demoralized.
That's right. But I'm saying
Well,
that
especially when I saw that face. I was just like, oh.
I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
Yes.
And as far as Mahomes, you were giving him credit. I want to give him a lot of credit for something that he did that wasn't actually in the game. During the press conference, one of the press conferences this morning, this is immediately after losing one of the biggest games of his career. And he had every right to be extremely down and demoralized and, yeah, I'm going to say it, depressed. And, concerned about the future and unsure of, his place in the world. One of the reporters asked him how long this loss was going to stick with him. You know what his answer was?
No.
For the rest of my life, he said. This will stick with me for the rest of my career. The pain from this loss will never go away. I will always remember this, and I want it that way. I'm good with that. I like it that way because it's going to serve as fuel. It's going to fire me up, and it's going to motivate me for the rest of my career. And I thought, man, that's a classy dude. Not just classy, but that is the right way mentally to accept a setback like that. It was the best he could possibly do to turn a negative and flip it into a positive. And don't you think that was the right way to accept that?
Well, I also heard him yesterday deflect a little blame, in my opinion. But, when the heat of passion, and that's one of the things I want to get to. A lot of people have criticized the games on both sides. They said the refs were bad. They were against, they wanted Tom Brady to win. And I get that. There was a few tic-tacky calls. But at the same time, if you take those calls away from Tampa Bay, it would not have affected the outcome because Kansas City only put 9 points on the board. And that's one of the things. The Kansas City Chiefs were talking that smack at the beginning of the game. Tom Brady wasn't having it. And I'll tell you, my favorite part of the game was at the end, during the kneel down, on 2nd and 11, when they were going to kneel down, Tom Brady gets him in the huddle, and he's like, we got one more fucking play, and we're going to win the goddamn Super Bowl.
Yep.
Now let's go out here and freaking do it. And I was like,
I loved it.
I was like,
I loved it.
I mean, it's a kneel down.
My girlfriend, it snapped to attention. She looked up and said, what did he just say? And I said, I couldn't make out all of it, but he was just motivating them to make sure that they could finish it out. And I just thought it was beautiful. He was so intense.
Oh, I love the fact that he ran down the field at the end of halftime and got in that guy's face who was jawing with him and let him know.
Tyrann Mathieu.
He let him know. Yeah, I believe they call him Honey Badger.
Yes.
So, anyways, it was an intent. I love defense. That's how I fell in love with football. And I know you wanted to do a top 5 quarterback thing, and I get that. And we can do that later. But I'm saying I love defense. I love big hits. I love that. I love when a guy, sacks the quarterback and puts him on the ground. I love a big blow to the receiver. I love, a massive tackle. And I love.
How about that amazing tackle when the guy was making the kick return for the Bucks, and one of the Chiefs in coverage ran up to him and managed to reach out and make an amazing tackle and flipped him upside down.
Yeah.
That was one of the best tackles
of the year. I
love
big tackles. I love that stuff. I just like that. I love guys that get break tackles.
Yeah.
I love guys. I love breaking tackles and big tackles.
That's DHS. That's Derrick Henry syndrome.
Yeah. I mean, and you go way back to Earl Campbell, how he would just maul guys.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that when it comes to the Super Bowl, and that's why I love defense so much, and that's why I usually, when I predict the game, it's who's got the best defense. That's very important because, as you can see yesterday, even though Kansas City has a great offense, they got shut down by a great defense. If you don't have that defense, if you don't have that top 5, top 6, maybe top 7 defense, I don't think you got a chance in the Super Bowl because, a defense, man, I'm telling you, you get in that room and you tell all those guys, hey, your next contract's worth millions of dollars, and they got it. It's a Brown thing that they're going to be carrying. All you got to do is take it from them, and you'll get millions of dollars. And they're like, yeah, kill him. And I'm saying, and I love hungry defense. Look at what the Saints did. They had a relentless defense until just a few weeks ago. Green Bay's defense stepped up. And to me, defense is a matter of wills. It's two guys, defensive players saying, we're going to stop this guy, we're going to beat these. Football's the ultimate team game. You can't say that about hockey or baseball or basketball or anything. Football is the ultimate team game. If you don't have all 52 cylinders pumping at the same motion, the next man up. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, face it. If Tom Brady would have not played in that Super Bowl, the Bucs may have won it still. May have.
It depends on who the quarterback
Well, first
was.
off, Tom Brady only threw for 208 yards. Okay,
He had a fine game.
He had
He did
208
quite well.
yards, not that big. 270 for Patrick Mahomes.
Brady, I just want to mention, had an 80% completion rate in that game, and that set the record for Super Bowl quarterback completion percentage.
I don't know. I think
the
Bill
Chiefs
Sims has a higher one.
Chiefs also broke records yesterday, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
In penalties and yardage.
Oh my
lost.
God! Yes,
Yeah,
that is my big reason.
They lost 95 yards in the first two quarters.
Some of those
for a
penalties
total
were tic-tacky, though.
for a total of 120 yards they lost yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the final penalty count was, what was it, 12 or 13 to 3?
11. 11 to 4.
11 to 4. 11 to 4. That's a big key reason right
Well,
there.
let me tell you something else.
And dropping those passes was really key.
I'm going to tell you something else I learned, and I'm
passes.
going to cash in on this from now on.
Okay.
All right. And you'll remember this. If you watch the game and you listen to the sound and everything, you remember this. That means yesterday, after yesterday's victory, the team with the white jerseys is 14 out of 17 in the last 20 years. Whoever wears white, 14 out of 17 times has won the Super Bowl.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if that really means anything necessarily, but
That's true.
It's an interesting stat, and I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe in
intriguing.
freaky stuff. I believe in freaky
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't go
I mean,
around.
I wouldn't make that,
Speaking of that, oh my gosh, you want to talk about freaky stuff? Tony Romo said it yesterday. He did. He said it yesterday. Somebody finally acknowledged the curses of the announcer. He said, we have these weird things. He goes, see there, you just said it.
See,
you
I
just
believe in
cursed
that.
it.
I'm telling you.
Yes, he
I
said
believe
it.
in that stuff.
Yes.
He's never missed a field goal all year.
He
He's
said
perfect.
something about field goals, and he goes, there you go. There's that curse of the announcer, or something like that. He goes, we got all these weird cursed things,
It's true.
announcers that
It's
say
true.
stuff.
It's
he
true.
said it. I was like, oh my God, he acknowledged it.
It's true, but it's not true. It's true, but it's not true. Let me tell you what I'm
Really?
saying.
How is it not true?
Okay,
you
because
and I
first off,
seen
if
it happen.
a guy is 35 or 35 on
Especially
field
with
goals,
kickers.
if
Yeah.
he's at 35 or 35 with field goals, he's bound to miss sooner or later. So if they say he hasn't missed a kick all year, I mean he's bound to miss. I don't think there has been a kicker perfect an entire season. I don't think there has been.
yes, actually there has.
I don't remember that. But there's also the other one. He hasn't thrown an interception in 273 passes. I mean, he's bound to throw one sooner or later.
Well, this is
So
true.
if he says that every time, I mean, that's a curse. But I mean, so it's a curse. It's not a curse. I don't know.
It's awfully coincidental.
It's his first fumble, Jason, in the last 196 carries. You know what I'm trying to say. I mean, that could happen. I'm just saying. So it depends on is the glass half full, is the glass half empty. All I know is the Super Bowl's over with, and we got 7 months to think about what's going to happen next year and all the exciting things that could happen with the National Football League yesterday with this quarterback carousel. Tampa Bay's got some free agents. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep some of their guys. Tom Brady said without a doubt. I mean, they asked him, at the end when he had the trophy in his hand, he said very quickly, "I'll be back next year." He was no hesitation.
Oh, yeah. No, he's already
He
said
didn't
since then he wants to
hesitate
play
one
through.
bit. I'll be back next year.
He's going through 46.
I
he
think
said.
his exact words were, "Oh yeah, we're coming back."
Oh, yeah. And Gronkowski's already gone on record as saying that he's going to play in Tampa Bay as long as Brady wants him around.
Yeah, which
So
will probably one more year.
Apparently Gronk is going to come back. And that doesn't surprise me because, I mean, I know he was out of the league for a while and he was busted up his last few years before he quote, unquote, retired. But now that he's come back, last season, although he got off to a slow start for the first 5 games, he did not miss a single game. He stayed almost completely healthy the entire way. So, I mean, why wouldn't you come back?
Well,
I mean,
they
not?
got the other tight end too that's taking a load off of him.
Cameron Brate.
Yeah, Cameron Brady. But here's something the Bucs need to do. Let me tell you what the Bucs need to do, and I noticed this because I didn't even know this until yesterday at the end of the game. Didn't know this because you don't think about it. You just don't think about it. Okay, the Tampa Bay Bucks better do one thing. Well, yeah. And I'm telling you, I'm looking right at the camera. I'm being dead serious. Okay? You better get a backup quarterback. Because the guy they got behind Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, has been run out of this league on every team he's ever played.
You know it's bad if you flamed out in Jacksonville.
Blaine Gabbert now has a Super Bowl ring, okay? And this guy flamed out everywhere he's ever went, and he's the backup to Tom Brady. You better get a backup because I'm telling you, without Tom Brady on the field, if you got Blaine Gabbert running the show, unless your defense plays like they did yesterday, every single game, you're done. I mean, you're done. They better try to get Ryan Fitzpatrick back. They better try to get somebody.
Then you got two old guys. That's not the answer. As much as I love Fitz, and I'd like to see that, that's not, logistically, that's not going to work.
He can fill
By the way, there's some rumors swirling that there have been two NFL teams. This is the latest quarter. You mentioned quarterback carousel a minute ago. The latest rumors have two different teams are in discussions with the Seahawks about possibly acquiring Russell Wilson.
Okay. Well, first off,
just putting it out there.
We're talking about the Super Bowl here. We could talk about the quarterbacks the other day, but the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, I understand they're under contract. The trade, yada yada yada. You trading that's like trading away your intelligence.
Maybe so. I'm not judging whether they should or not.
Newsflash:
Tom
Brady
just
got traded.
To know.
Really? I mean, come on. Newsflash: Tom Brady just got traded. He went to the Lions.
All right. I'm just sharing information here.
Stop it.
Yeah, they got a new promotion.
I'm just trying to share information with you.
All right. Well, hey, I got some information.
Don't take it personal. I mean, I'm not trying to trade for it.
Okay, the Lions just released a press statement earlier today. Because they got a new coach and everything. Mm-hmm. And they're rebuilding. Mm-hmm. And they said next year the first 11 fans at the stadium get to start.
Oh, God, stop it. Oh, man.
We can't say about the Browns now. They have a winning team. The Bengals, Justin Herbert wins Rookie of the Year.
The Lions will be on the way up, especially after making that deal. I mean, I don't like that deal for the Rams at all. I love that. I love that deal for the Lions.
Well, you take the Lions all year. I'll take the Rams. We'll see who comes on top.
I'm not saying Miami all year.
Dude, I'm not saying it's going to have instant impact. I'm not saying the Lions are going to have a better record than the Rams this year. I'm saying long term for their franchise, it's a better move than it was for the Rams. I'm saying that because they got a haul in that trade, and they got Goff who could still be rehabilitated. He could be a usable quarterback again. I haven't given up on him, and they got 2 first rounders and a third rounder over the next couple of years. That's going to benefit their franchise in a huge way.
Do you have any last thoughts on the Super Bowl before we?
I have a few thoughts. Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, do it.
There's I was really surprised that some of the huge stars that had been so overhyped. And maybe legitimately so, but coming into this game, were completely nullified. Mike Evans, next to nothing. Chris Godwin, Chris Ghost. And even on the Chiefs side, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill had 2 catches on 3 targets for most of the game. Sure, he tacked on a few decent gains, modest gains late in the game, but by that time it was out of hand. And it was pretty much completely inconsequential. So Tyreek Hill was like a non-factor. And I'm shocked by this. Even Gronk, even though, and people might blast me and say, well, Tyreek Hill had twice the yardage as Rob Gronkowski. That might be true. But Gronk had key catches early in the game when it really counted. He had several really key first downs, and he caught that touchdown as well. So Gronk came up big, even though he only had like 27 yards. He was important. He had several really big catches under pressure in third down situations. I'm just surprised that a lot of these big names completely flamed out. Patrick Mahomes, you can give him all the credit you want, and obviously you think he had an okay game. I thought he had a horrible game. He was lousy. He had a lousy game, and it happens, and it's okay. I'm just surprised that so many of these big stars got completely shut down. You talk all the time about defense. Defense came up really big in this game. And to shut down, the fact that Evans and Godwin both were completely, almost not even there, and the Bucks still won and handily, really shocks me. That is a big surprise to me.
Well, I can make a quick point about that. First off, your defensive scheme should be to stop the stars of the game. That's number one.
Should be.
No, okay, and so they did, but Patrick Mahomes did get 270 yards. Tyreek Hill, and think about that. That's 270 yards. It's not that bad.
How many touchdowns did he throw?
He didn't throw any touchdowns. But I'm saying he couldn't get him in the end zone. They were missing Sammy Watkins. They didn't run the ball. They didn't try to run the ball.
Watkins played, but it seemed like he was used about half as much as he normally would have.
I never saw him. There was an APB out on him. I don't know.
Well, he was in there. I saw him from time to time, but he got very little playing time.
They did not try to run the ball at all, which I think is a mistake. But, when I told you, to me, I was impressed by Patrick Mahomes to be under that amount of duress, and still be able to make pretty fairly accurate throws. And that, to me, was very, very impressive. It was. I mean, I can't say enough about it because, when do you see a quarterback under that much duress make one accurate throw?
Yeah.
Much less multiple accurate throws. This guy's a big star in this league. And I tell you, I was more impressed with him yesterday in a loss than I've seen in victories.
Early on in that game, the first 10 minutes of that game, the first few Chiefs drives, they stalled out early, and I think they got 6 points on those first 3 drives. But late in the first quarter, I turned to the people that I was watching. I had my neighbors over. I turned to the room, and I said, "I'm going to tell you something right now." I said, if the Chiefs do not find a way to tighten up that offensive line, it's going to be a real long day.
Well, they didn't have stars out. They had hurt
It
offensive
was a really long day.
Very
They really could have used LDT in that game. I know that. That really.
They could have lost a lot of guys. They could have lost a lot of guys. Well, we're not going to dwell on this game forever. You got anything else you want to say?
I do.
What do you got to say?
All right. So just so you guys know, I don't know if you guys do know, next year's Super Bowl will be in LA. That's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget what else I was going to say, but that was my biggest one that I had. So
Well,
I know we're not going to that one.
The Rams are out.
Rams and Chargers.
I'll say this, Steve. As far as my overall take on the day, it was disappointing. It was a little lackluster. I thought the pregame was good. I was totally fine with that. However, they really hammered 1 point home repeatedly again and again and again, and that kind of annoyed me. But I don't even know if I should really bring it up. It's kind of a controversial topic.
All right, we won't bring it up. We won't get into controversy.
It rhymes with Mace Creations, and a point that was continually hammered home ad nauseum. But the pregame was good. I thought the commercials were pretty good. The overall experience and the presentation was decent. I couldn't stand the announcing. It just drove me nuts. Tony Romo kind of ruined it for me as far as that went. The game itself was very one-sided and boring and slow. And yeah, so overall, I'm glad that we had that game, but it really wasn't the game that I was hoping it was going to be.
Well, in my closing thoughts, I'll simply say this. Obviously it wasn't the thriller in Manila, if you will. It wasn't that one-score game, but the one thing I did think is that it was not decided by controversial calls. It was not decided by, something other than
The officiating, I thought, was decent.
except the first quarter. There was questionable calls, but I'm just saying that a lot of people think that's what demoralized the Chiefs, but I'm not going to go there.
No.
What I'm going to say is it was not bad. Some kind of controversy or something to make you think that the game was unbiased or this idea. The Bucks kicked the Chiefs in the ass. That's it, plain and simple.
Yeah, they knocked their teeth in.
It was it was a debacle like the Seahawks beating the living crap out of Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl that was like 50-something to 10. I mean they just annihilated them. But that's all I got to say about the Super Bowl. I'm ready to wrap this show up if you are.
Yeah, I think we've covered enough.
All right, so you guys want more football? Well, then there's a button right down there. It's called like and subscribe. Ring the bell.
Yeah, we've got a lot more content coming up in the next several weeks. Just because football's over doesn't mean that we get a break. I know Steve wanted to, but I told him, I put my foot down. I said, no, Steve, we're doing more content. We're doing bonus content into the offseason. And I promised our fans at least 6 weeks, of bonus content going into the offseason. So, yep, you're going to have to clear your schedule. Sorry, you're going to have to cancel your vacation to Manila, and we're going to get that done. Sizzle, any last thoughts from you?
Nope.
Okay.
No less thoughts. You're not going to sit here and publicly finally say, like I was man enough to say,
are you willing to admit Tom Brady is the GOAT?
Is the greatest of all time? Let's hear you say it.
I'm not going to say that.
Well, who is then?
We'll do that on another show.
Very good dodge.
What a cop-out.
Guys, thanks so much for joining NFL Weekly Predictions from the Cheap Seat Sports TCS. We will see you again soon. For Jay Sizzle, Steve Champagne, I'm Jason Powers. God bless y'all. Take it easy.
Peace.